Hello bearded bee people, welcome back to the B&K's Bees channel for another episode of Random Inspection Friday. We are going to get into this hive with the same goal in mind that we've had over the last few inspections. That is to see where we're at as far as the food, see if I can stop feeding them, which gosh I hope I can. We have bought more than 2,000 pounds of honey, and not really in a bulk situation. It's just repeat trips to the grocery stores, and I'm sick of it. Now, of course, I'm not going to let a colony die because of financial stress or because I'm sick of it, but that being said, I'd really like to find out that I can be done, because we still have to get all the sugar for sugar bricks. Okay, so first look of it looks pretty good. They're using some of that food I'm giving them to create burr comb, which I would rather not see. But if they're filling it up with sugar honey, then it's not all a bad thing. Katie and I are getting married tomorrow. So I'm trying to do two inspections right now so I can have one up for you guys next week while we are in the UP at Dark Sky Parks for our honeymoon, which I'm really looking forward to. Astronomy stuff. Alright, so it looks like these two frames here are largely being ignored. I think I have another drawn frame I can put right here if this one isn't completely drawn. Foundation can be a killer in the winter, so if you have the availability, remove all of your foundation frames, the blank foundation, and replace them with something that the bees can store with food. When it's very cold during the winter, they can have food. If this one is blank, they can have food on this frame, but have an inability to cross that blank frame to actually break cluster to reach the food that they need. So you can open up a dead out in the spring and realize that this frame was absolutely full of honey, or say maybe 2 frames over on this side were absolutely full of honey, but they died right here because they couldn't break cluster and cross that foundation. So if you have the availability, remove it. If you don't have the availability, put those frames on the edge. Make sure that they don't ever have to cross something. Well, I guess that is kind of drawn. Make sure they don't ever have to cross something that's blank without food on it. I'll make the decision on what to do with that after I go through all the rest of this stuff. Nectar and capped on the top. It's good, although I wish I would have found that 2 frames ago. Means that I'm certainly not done feeding these ladies. Population level looks good just by looking into the frame slots from above, and I hope I continue to feel that way as I pull these out. Alright, this side is difficult to flip over because it's a crappy plastic frame, but that's full honey. As well as this one. Absolutely full. Plastic frames are not my favorite. Difficult to flip over, difficult to remove from the adjacent frames. But of course, when we were starting out, we tried everything. See which worked best for us. So for that reason, we still have a bunch of them. Okay, so here's a little bit of brood. Those open cells Do they contain anything? Yes, they do. Not as many eggs as I'd like to see, but there are eggs there. It's a nice little patch of capped brood there, surrounded by honey, as you'd expect. So yeah, Katie and I are getting married tomorrow. We've been together for a long time. It feels like we're already married, but we're doing it. I mean, it's not actually tomorrow when I'm filming this, but when you're watching this, if you're watching it on Friday, we're getting married on Saturday. A lot of planning, and as I'm sure most of you know, kind of hectic coming down to the wire. Alright, that's beautiful. Have some larvae in there. See if I can get it to focus so you can see some larvae. Alright, cool. Brood is looking good. So yeah, a few weeks ago, maybe more than that, 6 weeks ago, I went through and I thought I removed all of those foundation frames. And I guess that one that I was talking about earlier does have some drawn from it, but not enough. Alright, this is a beautiful looking frame. Just beautiful. Jam-packed with brood. And the other side here. Alright, that's looking good. Some rain clouds are rolling in, so I've got to hurry this up. If this next one is all honey, then that'll be all I'm doing as far as inspections go. I can see it's mostly honey, and I can feel it's pretty heavy. Oh wait, I've got a nice patch of brood there. It's a medium frame. Nice solid patch of worker brood, both on the frame and off the bottom of the frame. Similar situation on the other side. Alright, I think that next one is honey. As I said, the clouds are rolling in, and it's already angry bee season. So I'm going to lock these ladies back up. Mark in my notes and in my mental notes that they do need some more food. Each frame isn't quite as heavy as it could and should be. Now, would they survive on what they have here now? Probably. Alright, I'm going to go grab 1 or 2 extra frames, depending on how many I can find real quick. So I've got one with a lot of bee bread that does not smell gross. Every once in a while, they'll mix the pollen with concentrated either sugar water or nectar, and if you leave it outside of a hive in a shed or something like that, it'll start to smell like booze. Yeah, this one doesn't, so no worries there. Alright, I think this frame a little bit more drawn anyway. I'm getting attacked a little bit, so I've got to shut these ladies up. Putting the pollen frame on the outer edge because it's mostly full already. They'll have to fill like every other cell with nectar because most of them have bee bread in them, which will help in the spring. Alright, now to make sure that the queen's not on this stuff, once again I'm leaving that Burcomb because it's got honey on it, and because if they fill it up to its fullest extent with the sugar that I'm giving them now, that will lessen the amount of dry sugar I have to line the tops of the frames with later on. And I'm all for that because that lessens the amount of dry sugar I have to purchase. Alright, I don't think she's there. If I had a better smoker, I could get these ladies off. There is a tiny bit of smoke coming out of there, I promise you. I don't have a high definition enough camera to show that. Alright, I'm getting bombarded now. These bees don't like me right now, but I mean good, bees. I'm not here to cause harm. I've told you that a million times. Alright. Alright, so they'll get at least one more full pan of food. Maybe more. I probably won't get into this frame by frame yet again this year. You know, I have a pretty good idea now of where they're at food-wise, and after I give them one or two more pans, I'll be fairly confident that they have what they need. Like I said, they'd probably survive on what's in there now, but I don't like to have that on my conscience. If there's a probably to it, I'd rather feed more and rest easy, knowing I did what I could. I'm sure all you guys feel that way too. So, general rule of thumb is if they're filling the box, each frame should be heavy. If they're filling the box should be heavy. And the population level looks good there, and it will get probably even a little greater before winter hits completely. At least hopefully it does. But either way, I feel pretty good about that colony. I think I just saw something move in the woods. Obviously, it's probably a deer. But we have had foxes out there past that mound. There's like an underground like tunnel system that they built over there, and I was fairly certain a few years ago that that was the fox's home, and then this year I was fairly certain that it was a skunk home because we had to trap and release a skunk a few miles down the road that I was fairly certain was coming from there, and it was messing with my mating nukes. It would knock over the mating nukes like one or two a night and eat the brood out of them, and so we just borrowed a live trap and moved them. But I keep my eye out over there because hopefully I'll see another fox because they're cool. But no luck today as far as that goes. Alright, thanks for watching. Get out there and have some fun with your bees. Click like if you liked it. Click subscribe if you're not already so that you get notified for other episodes of Random Inspection Friday in the future. See ya.